What's up guys? In today's video we'll be taking a filthy Volkswagen we got from an auction, doing a full detail and making it showroom ready.
If the end is near, just know that I got you. I'm your armor when things get tough. Know I got your back, your battles are mine too. I'll fight for you when things get hard. Lay it all on me when you're not strong.
As you can see guys, this Volkswagen is very dirty. And normally when a car is this dirty and uncoated, there'll be plenty of contaminants and swirl marks on the paint. But first step to getting this car showroom worthy is taking the auction stickers off. So I'm just going to go around taking the majority of the stickers off. There's going to be adhesive left on the windows, but we're going to take care of that on another step. So an important thing to remember when taking these stickers off, especially if you're using a razor blade, is to check to make sure that the windows don't have tint on them. Now on to washing the car. As you can see here, I have 3 buckets. One is a rinse bucket filled with just water. One's a wash bucket filled with pH balanced soap and a mitt. And then the third bucket is my wheel bucket with a bunch of wheel brushes and a detail brush. So the first step in washing your car is to start with the wheels. You don't want to wash the entire car, then get to the wheels, and then all the brake dust and the dirt from the wheels go back onto the body of the car that you just washed. Typically when I wash the wheels, I start with the tires using a tire wheel brush. Then I go on to using a barrel brush. So it's I use a microfiber one, and it's to get inside the barrel of the rim. Then I use a detail brush for the lug nut areas and any tighter spots that are hard to reach with the mitt. And then finally going over the outside of the wheel with my wheel mitt. Alright, and now I rinse off the wheel wells first, then the tire, and then the wheel itself. So when I'm rinsing the car, before I wash it, I always rinse everything. I normally open the doors, get inside the door jambs, rinse out the door jambs, get that trunk area, and then pop the hood, rinse the hood, and then I'll normally start detailing the engine bay.
One day soon, we got this. One day soon, one day soon, one day.
As you can see here, I am lightly rinsing the engine bay, no high pressure, really close to the power washer, you don't want to damage anything. And then I get a diluted all-purpose cleaner, spray it on, and then use a detail brush to really agitate it and work it in there. Alright, and now I'm going to take it one step further and use my leaf blower to blow out any water that's trapped inside the engine bay. All right, now I'm going to rinse the outside of the car before washing. And you always want to keep in mind of any paint chips and making sure that you don't get too close to the power washer when going over that area. You don't want to lift up the paint and damage it any further. Now that the car is all rinsed, I'm going to be using my foam cannon, spraying the car with a nice layer of foam, and then I'm going to use the 2-bucket method to wash the car starting from the top and working my way down. Now you don't need a foam cannon, honestly, it's kind of just satisfying to watch. But it does help with keeping the car lubricated so you minimize any scratches. Now during this washing step, you want to always make sure to thoroughly rinse out the mitt and then put it back in soapy water, and just do that throughout the process so you're not dragging dirty water across the car. As you can see here, in some spots I'm using a different sponge. It's that yellow bug sponge. I use this for the dirtier side rails that might have tar, an excess of dirt, and then the front bumper that has any bugs on it. Really helps with that. To really take it a step further, I'm using a detail brush to get inside the emblems and around the emblems, and also in the gas door compartment and around that. Now to rinse the car and then dry it. So I'm drying it using a leaf blower, and this is a really good method to minimize scratching. Because even using a good quality drying towel, you can run into scratching the car a little bit. So I normally will try as much as I can with the leaf blower. It's not going to get all the water off. And then after that, then I use a drying towel to just get any of the excess water out. And remember guys, All the tools and chemicals that I'll be using in this video are linked in the description below. Alright, now that the car is all cleaned, we're going to go on to the next step, which is decontaminating the car. I'll be using a clay lubricant and then a clay mitt to help make the car very smooth and feel like glass. Alright, so you want to be spraying the clay lubricant on the clay mitt itself and then on the panel that you'll be working on. The more lubrication, the better. And then you're just going to be using a back and forth motion. It'll be gritty at first, and that's the contaminants that are stuck on the paint, but after a couple passes, you'll actually feel it gets smoother and smoother, and you'll be taking all the contaminants, which include brake dust, any ferrous metals like that, off the paint surface. And just continue this process going around the car, doing each panel. You can even do the glass and the windshield, the headlights, anything that you know you'll probably be working on. Alright, now we bring the car inside, and now we're going to work on getting the adhesive from the auction stickers off the car. I'm using Rapid Remover, which is a very strong adhesive remover. Just kind of let it sit on there for a couple seconds and then wipe it down. As you can see here, it actually turns the adhesive into almost like a jelly, but it works really, really well. Now I know this is a little unorthodox, but I'm actually going to stop working on the outside and just kind of tackle the interior. It doesn't need much, so I'm just going to go inside, vacuum, and get this all set. Here I'm spraying the pedals and the dead pedal that's filled with dirt with a diluted all-purpose cleaner and agitating it with a detail brush, and then just wiping it off with a microfiber towel. Same step here as with the pedals, just spraying it with all-purpose cleaner, diluted. I believe the dilution is 10:1, and then using the detail brush and just wiping it down with a microfiber towel. Just continuing with that process for the door panels, the dash, the steering wheel, all of those areas. The detail brush works really well for in between buttons and the air vents. So just you want to just spray, detail brush, and wipe down microfiber. Alright guys, so I realized that the left headlight is a little hazy, so we're going to tackle that by using some 2500 grit sandpaper and some soapy water. So let's move on to that. So I'm simply using a ceramic coating applicator pad. You normally use these to wrap a suede around, and that's how you apply the ceramic coating, but I'm going to use this just to wrap the sandpaper around so I have something a little more ergonomical. And then simply spray the headlight with the soapy water, spray the sandpaper with soapy water, and just go back and forth. You want to try to do a one direction movement here, so you don't create any unnecessary scratches or swirls. Now, because we sanded the headlight, we're gonna have to polish it. I'm using a compound first to get the deeper scratches, and then moving on to a polish to get the finer scratches and really make the headlight clear. For the compounding step, I'm using a more aggressive microfiber pad. You have to prime these pads, so just rubbing the compound in with my finger, making sure all the fibers are filled with compound. Alright, now I'm switching to an orange foam pad and the polish. Alright guys, now that the headlight is done, it is time to move on to polish the entire car. I have my Griot's DA, a foam pad, and Meguiar's correction compound. Can anyone guess what that orange car is? Similar to the headlight, we're going to dab the product onto the panel, working a 2x2 area at a time. Setting the machine to a speed of around 3 to spread the compound onto the panel, and then moving it up to around a 6 and slowly using a crosshatch pattern. You want to move slowly with a little pressure. The slower, the more correction; the faster, the less correction. Another thing to consider is how hard the paint is. Volkswagen paint is primarily hard, so it's going to take a little bit more to get the correction done. Now I'm doing 3 or 4 passes using that crosshatch pattern. Because I'm only doing a one step, I normally, on my final pass, it's going to be a little less pressure. You want to work the contours of the body panels and watch for edges. The paint is a little thinner where the edges are, so it is easier to burn. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've actually switched to a microfiber pad. The foam pad was taking a little bit too long to correct, so the microfiber is more aggressive and it's going to cut the time down. See here, even just using the one step, how clean and shiny the paint has gotten. Now I'll be moving on to any trim and plastic pieces. I'm using the same compound, but I'm going to be using a hand pad to work in and polish those areas. Alright, back to using that Guyon prep. After the polishing is all done, there's going to be polishing oils left on the panels. You want to remove those before doing any other further steps. So I'll be spraying that on and wiping it down, and it's going to clean the panel. It's hard to tell, but there's rock chips all over the hood and the front bumper. My paint guy was actually here when I was doing this. He made up some paint, so now I'm going to touch up any of those rock chips. Now this paint has a hardener in it, so it's not going to take too long to dry, but while I'm waiting for the paint to dry, I'll be working on the trim and the tires. Now look how well this trim restorer works. Really brings that black shine back to the trim. So glass has always been kind of an issue for me, but this product by G-Technic, G6 Perfect Glass, is a very, very good glass cleaner. Definitely my favorite by far. I'm using 2 waffle weave towels to apply it, one to wipe it down, and a second one to buff the residue off. Always want to make sure that you roll down the window to get that top part. All right, guys, we are almost done. Last step here is applying a ceramic sealant. Hydrosilix Recharge. Stuff works really well. It brings out more shine and helps protect the car for a little while. You simply want to spray it onto the panel, wipe it down with a microfiber, use a second microfiber to buff it out. Alright guys, I know it's been a very long process, and if you stuck around this far, I just want to take the time and thank you. So now without further ado, let's check out the final product. As always, if any of you are new, say hi in the comments, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, hit that like button, and I will see you next time. Peace!